Good morning. Welcome to the May 14th Board of County Commission meeting. We do begin each of our meetings with an invocation, and today we have Lisa Crump with Church for All Nations to lead us in that. Please feel free to join if you would like.
Father, we thank you, God, that you have made this new day. We will rejoice in it and be glad. We're so encouraged that your word tells us great is your faithfulness. Lord, we invite you to this meeting to bring your wisdom, your counsel, Lord, to great discussion, Lord, that will bring about the decisions that need to be made for our county. Father, we thank you for this time of year when schools are wrapping up things and our children are getting ready for the summer. Lord, I thank you for the recent rains that have been really helpful to make things green and beautiful, but also, Lord, to just help us with fire mitigation and those type of issues, Lord, that come up this time of year. Lord, from your word in Numbers 6, Lord, I just want to pray that you would bless us and keep us, that you would make your face to shine upon us and be gracious to us, that you would lift up your countenance upon us and give us peace. Peace here in our region, in our state, in our nation, and in the world. In Jesus' name, amen.
And today we'll have Miss Deborah Hendricks lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. She's a fierce advocate for children's and families in whatever organization she happens to have the hat on for.
Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is staff emergency items, and I'm unaware of any staff emergency items today.
Item 4.
Item number 4 is changes, postponements, and notice of the next meeting. I am aware of one change to today's agenda. The petitioner for item number 5A1 is attending the meeting, and that item will be considered under the called up consent calendar, item number 10. And the next meeting will be Tuesday, May 21st at 9:00 a.m.
Item number 5.
Item number 5 is the consent calendar, including items 5A2 through 5K4, with the exception of 5A1, which will be considered under item number 10.
Okay, are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any item on today's consent calendar? Hearing none in the room. Are there any online? Okay. Discussion, questions, and a motion from commissioners.
I move approval of items 5A2 to 5A11.
And I'll second. And I do have some comments when the time is right.
Commissioner Williams, will you please clarify 5A2 through 5?
Yes, it is 5A2 through 5A,
K4.
oh, 5K4. Sorry, didn't read the agenda past page 2. Sorry about
Thank you.
that.
And Commissioner Vanderwerf, does your second stand?
Yes, I will amend my second to reflect the new motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comments?
Yes,
Commissioner
Madam Chair.
Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of quick items on here that I think are worthy of mention before we vote on them. Item 5J, for example, a resolution to recognize revenue and expenses of just under $2 million from the Colorado Department of Human Services through the contract for our jail-based behavioral services work. I think this is very noteworthy and helpful to our community. So I just thought it would be worthwhile to specifically mention it and place it on the record. Also, a couple of procurement contract items. Continued work, just under $1 million for fiber optic installation, trying to get all of El Paso County into a broadband configuration. And also almost $1 million increase in a contract for a company that helps us work on roads and infrastructure developments. So those are noteworthy items in the consent calendar. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions or comments by commissioners? Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just did want to note, because the one of the contract modifications is specifically for Rex and Meridian, that intersection. I was out there last week touring this intersection with those folks, asking a lot of questions about some of the things that are happening out there, including when they were actually excavating and getting down into building the road, there were some soft spots related to excess moisture and other things. And so to make sure that those soft spots were taken care of, and several other items to make sure that we have a good, reliable road in the future. I think this is really important, and just wanted to point that out. I was out there, got to talk to this contractor directly, as well as our engineer and staff, and I feel really good that we're making good choices to make sure we have a quality built road that will last a long time. So thank you.
Well said. That project's been a long time coming. Okay, any other comments? Okay. It has been moved and seconded. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The consent calendar passes 5-0 with the exception of the item pulled off to called off consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is the proclamation recognizing National Charter School Week 2024. Carrie Geithner, Vice Chair, Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move approval of a proclamation recognizing National Charter School Week 2024. If you are here for this proclamation, if you would like to come forward, we'd love to hear from you all after the reading. Whereas all children deserve access to the highest quality education possible that suits their families' unique needs and opportunities. And whereas in 1993, Colorado became the 3rd state in the United States to authorize charter schools. And whereas, since that time, charter schools have become a valuable part of the public school family and Colorado's K-12 education ecosystem, offering hundreds of thousands of children and families additional choice and freedom in education. And whereas, charter schools commit to obtaining specific educational objectives in return for a charter to operate a school and are publicly accountable through written performance contracts with authorized public chartering agencies. And whereas Colorado now enjoys one of the nation's strongest charter school programs, paving the way for other states to embrace the common sense education reform. And whereas the choice that charter schools offer to families allows them to prepare their children for entering the workforce, pursuing higher education, and being productive and informed members of society, while also enhancing the vibrancy of their community. And whereas the benefit of a charter school education comes without any restrictions or on admission or any additional cost to taxpayers. And whereas charter schools and education reform are bipartisan issues embraced by Republicans such as former Governor Bill Owens and former Colorado State Senator Keith King, and Democrats such as former Governors Roy Romer and John Hickenlooper. And whereas, despite the successes of and broad support for charter schools, there are some within the state of Colorado that want to hinder both the creation or reauthorization of charter schools in order to fulfill a political agenda at the behest of powerful special interest groups. And whereas, if parents, children, and all citizens of the state of Colorado aren't vigilant, the successes and progress in education choice may be lost to future generations. Now, therefore, the Board of El Paso County Commissioners hereby recognizes National Charter School Week and praises all of the hard work, dedication, and support of all the children, parents, teachers, and leaders who create, use, and appreciate the options that charter schools afford them within the state of Colorado. Done this 14th day of May 2024 at Colorado Springs, Colorado. Signed, the Board of County Commissioners of El Paso County, Colorado, Cami Bremer, Chair, Carrie Geithner, Vice Chair, Lohinos Gonzalez Jr., Stan Vanderwerf, and Holly Williams, members, and attested to by Steve Schleicher, County Clerk and Recorder.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Thank you, Commissioner Geithner, for bringing this forward. At this time, do we have any guests here who would like to speak on behalf of this proclamation? Please introduce yourself. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. I'm Roland Rainey. I'm also a member of the Banning Lewis Academy Charter School Board of Directors. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of you as commissioners for this proclamation. Oftentimes when you look at a charter school, I tend to look at them as incubators of innovation, technology, and also having a progressive, rigorous curriculum, something that families can lean towards to enhance the education of their kids. So highlighting this, this proclamation here and putting a spotlight on charter schools hopefully will continue to enhance and actually give families the understanding that charter schools and the curriculums that are structured are meant to advance their kids, not only in their communities, in the state, but in the nation as a collective whole. As I mentioned before, these progressive curriculums is something that I believe our kids will benefit from, but more importantly, the nation will benefit from moving into the future. So thank you very much for this proclamation.
Well said. Thank you for being here. Is there anyone else?
Hi, thank you, Board. My name is Jarvis Caldwell. I am the Vice Chair on the Board of Directors for New Summit Charter Academy. We are one of only 2 charter schools in School District 20. So first off, I want to thank everybody for being here today, and I want to thank the Board for your love and support of charter schools and school choice. It is very much appreciated. A lot of people don't realize this, but not every county commission has this kind of support for school choice and charter schools. So thank you again. You guys have been awesome in that respect. So charter schools have been important to Colorado families for over 30 years. but it's not guaranteed. It doesn't always have to be that way. What we enjoy today can be taken away tomorrow. And something I want to highlight for those listening and for the board itself is that this year at the state legislature, there was a bill that was ran, House Bill 1363, the so-called Charter Schools Accountability Bill. Now, I assure you, as a board member on a charter school, we are very accountable, if not more than others. But what this bill would have done, in essence, would be an end to charter schools as we know it in Colorado. It would have set the barriers so high for new charter schools that they just wouldn't be able to afford to be created. And it would have set the barriers and costs so high for existing charter schools that within a couple years, we would probably have to close because we couldn't meet all of the stringent requirements the Bill 1363 was requiring. And so I want to highlight that for people that there is a war on school choice and charter schools going on at the state level here, and we have to continue to fight it. As long as we have air in our lungs, we have to continue speaking out. We have to continue fighting for school choice, for charter schools, and for Colorado families in this state. Now, this battle, we won the battle this year, but the war is not over because the bill sponsor themselves said when this bill got killed in the House Education Committee this year that don't worry, this bill will be back next year. So what I want to say to the board and what I want to say to anybody listening is that we cannot get complacent because they will bring another anti-charter school bill next year, and we have to continue to fight it. So again, thank you for this proclamation. Thank you for having the charter school community here, and thank you for your dedication. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
I'm Lori Thompson. I'm the president of the school board for Falcon District 49. I am so honored to be here for this proclamation. In School District 49, more than half of our students attend one of our many charter schools. Families should always have the right to direct the education of their children in the way best aligned to their family's choices and the students' needs. From classical education, direct instruction, from challenging curriculum to innovative learning opportunities, it is so important to meet students where they are at. Many of our charter schools outperform our traditional schools on standardized state testing. In addition to our high-performance charter schools, we also have specialty charter schools that may not test as well, but who provide unique support services. We have a school specific for the needs of younger dyslexic students. We also authorize a statewide alternative high school for students who, for whatever reason, could not thrive in a traditional brick-and-mortar high school. Just yesterday, I was behind a car at a gas pump that had a sticker on the bumper for one of our charter schools. I asked the driver what she thought of the school. She proudly told me how her children were thriving at the school. I am very grateful to the county commissioners for their support for charter schools and public education. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know this was going to be happening today, but when I saw it on the agenda, I was very, very thankful. My grandchildren go to a classical charter school in town, and I could not be more thankful. We've gotten to travel overseas quite a bit, and just knowing the broad base that they are teaching them from Latin to other languages and sciences and math is just such a broad education that is so needed to be competitive in today's world. So I applaud you and I thank you deeply for representing charter schools and approving that. God bless.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, and I'm here representing a couple of organizations. So one being Parents Challenge. The other is I sit on the Charter School Institute board. And then also I am a founding board member for Colorado Early Colleges. So I certainly know the importance and value of choice in children's lives as well as parents. So I thank you, commissioners, for honoring and having this proclamation to really recognize National Charter School Week because parents should be the decision makers regarding the choice in education for their children. And just as the gentleman said, the bill that was presented this year would have just been detrimental to charter schools. And so many individuals are receiving a great education from charter schools. Serving on the Charter School Institute Board, we have over 22,000 students that are receiving an education, and that's just the CSI schools, not counting all of the other charter schools that are part of districts. So it is a needed commodity, and one that, again, parents should be able to decide what's in their child's best interest, and one size doesn't fit all. And so thank you for providing this proclamation and continuing to support educational choice for students.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here wishing to speak on this item today? Okay, with that, I will bring it to commissioners, and as is our tradition, we'll let Commissioner Geithner have the final say on this before we take a vote. Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I wanted to speak on the importance of charter schools and school choice. I know that every year in February we get the yellow scarves for the Parents' Challenge. I just wanted to state, though, that my granddaughter lives in Roswell, New Mexico, and there is no school choice. There is you live in the school boundary, you find out which is the best elementary school, and then you live in that school boundary. You only have a choice of a private school, which is quite expensive. And they do have one charter school, which is very selective in choosing its students. So I have always loved living in Colorado because of the choices we have. My kids all went to public school, but at one point, we had one child in Frontier Elementary School in School District 20, one child in Academy International, and one child in a program on at Pine Valley Elementary School on the Air Force Academy, which no longer exists. They have knocked it down. So they did take that one down. And so we've had kids in as many as 3-4 elementary schools at one time, all because of we needed to choose which school was best for which child. And so I'm a huge supporter of school choice. While my kids did not go to charter schools, they may at some point, I may have grandkids that choose to go to charter schools. I do often wish my granddaughter was up here so I could send her to the best school for her needs. But that is not the case. And so I know my son, who is a single parent, does struggle some with her. So I am wholly in support of this proclamation because we have such a great school system in Colorado. Thank you.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm a great supporter of this proclamation as well, and appreciate this board's interest in bringing this forward and making a public statement about it. I also appreciate the comments that have been given by those that testified on behalf of this proclamation today, and the comments are exceptionally relevant. I just don't understand why anybody would be against a charter school. The whole point is to help our kids learn where they want to learn, you know, and it's about parents' choice, and it's about the kids' choice as expressed through the parents, and it's so important. And I am my family is a personal beneficiary of school choice in Colorado. My son, who had absolutely no interest in athletics, but was very, very interested in academics, was not being challenged in a public school sufficiently. So we ended up enrolling him in the Colorado Virtual Academy, which some of you may know about. Turns out that company also had virtual academies in several other states across the United States. One of those included Georgia. And when I was active duty in the military, we were able to keep him in the virtual academy, but just simply change the title from Georgia to Colorado and back and forth while we were PCSing around in my active duty time. But my son was taking partial differential equations, an advanced form of calculus, in 11th grade, which is a class normally reserved for sophomore level work at a university. And I can remember one day, my son asking me to come over to his room. I go over there, and he shows me on the computer screen thousands of little airplanes on his computer screen. So I asked him, well, what's that? And he goes, well, I tapped into the Federal Aviation Administration feed for all of the airplanes that are flying over the United States, and this is a live display of all of the airplanes, and I wrote a little applet to allow me to display it on my computer. And, these were the kinds of things that would happen in my relationship with my son that helped me understand that he was really, really into the academics and math and engineering. Something that was much more difficult for some schools, public schools, brick and mortar schools, to really deliver well. But the Colorado Virtual Academy was offering college courses, and so this allowed him to flourish in a space that he really, really loved. And today, he is a computer engineer working for Dell Computer in a fantastic job, leading a research and development design team now, and writing BIOS code to allow for the interface between hardware and software for the Dell company. So this is a personal example that I have of the value of school choice. It allows people and families to be able to pick and choose a place that allows their child to flourish. So I'll come back to my original premise here. I just do not understand why anybody would be against this. That makes no sense to me. I'm going to tell you straight up, anybody that conducts a war on school choice has picked a war with me. And I'm going to defend charter schools no matter where I end up, and to make sure that we allow kids to have choices and parents to have choices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate this proclamation. Great supporter of this. As we know, more choice is better, right? who doesn't think that? And why would somebody not think that's a good idea? So the full spectrum of opportunities for our students is critical and important. And for our parents to have that choice is important. And so as an educator myself, I know that we've worked together in District 2 on issues that these are the kind of things, charter schools, other opportunities, as was just mentioned by Commissioner Vanderwerf and others, providing that opportunity that can be tailored to your child. That's great, and that's something we need to support. And again, I appreciate the notes on the bill that was likely going to hurt. I hope it does not come back again next year. I know it will, and so we'll have to be vigilant in trying to make sure that we support our educators, our options, and our opportunities for our children, and supporting charter schools is one way of doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have a lot I could say about this particular proclamation, but I want to go back in history for a minute. My first introduction to the concept of charter schools was when I had an internship in high school with a dear friend and mentor who served on the Georgia State Board of Education, was appointed by the governor to that. And during that time, during the late 90s, I'm going to date myself now, the legislature was dealing with whether Georgia at the time would become one of those states that would allow charter schools to flourish and to thrive. And so here I was reading board and agenda packets for a sitting state education board member, and I remember highlighting and flagging so many things about that bill and the logistics of how that would work for children in the state of Georgia. And as I was up to the challenging task of kind of analyzing that for her, putting all the pluses and all the minuses and who's saying what about the pros and the cons. It really helped me understand that when I was just in high school and when my only choice was a really wonderful public high school, but it was either private or public up until that time in the late 90s in the state of Georgia. But now I have the opportunity of watching my nieces and nephews flourish in all types of education environments, and my sisters, their parents, choosing different things for them. And fast forward now to I now also serve on a charter school board here in town. We have chosen that as the best choice for my son at the moment. And, I think a rising tide lifts all boats. This proclamation could very well be, is focused on charter schools because of the timeliness of it and the end of the legislature session, but it's really to encompass the whole idea that competition makes us all stronger, and specializing to meet the needs of children is really the foundation of why your county commissioners are speaking out on this today. With all of our proclamations, we ask the question, what role does this board have in this? Why should your county commissioners be taking a position on education? Let me count thy ways, that the current education system impacts what we are able to do up here. Several of us have served on the workforce board. We serve on chamber committees that are trying to make sure that there are job opportunities following education, no matter what type of education was provided. But we need those kids to be ready for it. And I'm looking at several faces here that are impacting exactly that. I think, Mr. Rainey, you said that charter schools are an incubator of technology. Some are, some aren't. Sometimes some of them are an incubator of learning to read well, or of foreign language in the case of my son's school. But the common thread is that took a tremendous amount of initiative and visionary work from the founders of each and every one of those charter schools. And to realize that there was a niche and a need. And so it's very natural that the kids that then end up in those schools are going to also have that initiative going forward, and whatever passion that school provided and lit a fire in for them. So I'm a firm believer in strong competition and a strong supporter of parents choosing what educational environment is best for their child. And that could be public, it could be private, it could be parochial, it could be charter. And I think that we have a tremendous educational ecosystem right here in Southern Colorado. And I love to see what could be considered as competing organizations and competing schools all sitting right here championing the same thing, which is a strong education for our kids. So thank you very much for being here today. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm going to mention one that hasn't been mentioned yet in the school choice world, which is homeschooling, which I don't talk about a whole lot up here, but is a choice that my family has made, and a choice that I briefly participated in even as a student when I was young. And so I really appreciate all of the comments. I so appreciate you guys taking the time out to be here this morning to share a little bit about your feelings on charter schools. And I can't see you because you're behind the monitor, but I'm going to lean over and say, and especially to the board president of D49, Lori Thompson, I think to the chair's point, it is so great to see folks from different areas and from different types of organizations here supporting this. I support all of school choice, and today, celebrating National Charter School Week is, to me, an important part of school choice, but certainly not the only ones, and we do support all of those options. I've often been asked, I am one of the founders and board president of a charter school called Mountain View Academy in D49, and people often ask me why my kids are homeschooled. And I say, and why I would spend so much time pouring into a school, it's all volunteer role that I have done for years now, if my children are homeschooled and they don't attend that school. And I simply say, because every child deserves great choices. Every family deserves great choices, not just mine. And it just worked out that my family has chosen a specific path, but it doesn't mean I'm any less passionate about other parents making different choices that work for them. There is no one size fits all, as we all know when it comes to our students. And so I just think that you can support all of these choices. One, support of charter schools doesn't mean I don't support great traditional public schools as well. I certainly do, and I'm grateful for the work that our school board members are doing on that front as well. We all need to work together on all of these choices. I also want to point out, and it's tempting that we all tend to fall into this using the words public schools, charter schools versus public schools, but charter schools are public schools. And as we see so many people moving into Colorado from other places, this is something that I think is really important. Charter schools are public schools. They are tuition free, and that gives parents all a choice on where they want to send their kids, and I think that is phenomenal. I also just wanted to kind of mention, I talk about a lot Common Sense Institute and the work that they do as a think tank. They've done some work in this space talking about the value of charter schools in Colorado, and they have really been able to quantify what that does for our parents, for our students, and to the point of our chair, for our workforce, which is an important piece as well. I wanted to mention a few other just types of things for the benefit of anyone listening who's maybe not as familiar with charter school. We've talked about all the different types of schools that there are. I think another one that always comes to my mind that I just find to be an incredible asset to our community is Falcon Aerolab, which also happens to be in D49. And yes, I live in D49, so I'm sorry I'm not as familiar with the other districts. But the Falcon Aerolab that just does really tremendous things for our kids out at the Meadow Lake Airport. And that was technically a homeschool enrichment program, I guess, but I guess they are still operating underneath that charter. But I just really am grateful for all of those options and what it provides to our community. And I think the more we can promote that and give parents those options, the better off our families are, the better off our kids are, the better off our workforce and our economy is. And to the chair's point again on how that connects here to the County Commission, there are all kinds of opportunities when we are talking about workforce, when we are working with the chamber where education comes up. And although we don't have a direct nexus or authority over that, and I don't envy you, we, I think, have a responsibility to promote things that are healthy and good for our community, and this is one of those things. But I also want to say that we don't just need to defend charter schools in the state of Colorado. That certainly came up in the legislative session, but we need to be pushing forward. There's still more work to do. And a couple of those things were part of our Pikes Peak Promise, which talked about the necessity for making charter school access greater for students, for example, who need transportation. And I was hoping that our chair might talk about that a little bit. But the fact that we still have barriers that prevent charter schools from going into another district to pick up students and take them to that school, why would we disadvantage any student to not be able to be picked up and taken to the school of their choice? So those are things that we continue to work on. We don't just need to defend, we need to lean forward, we need to make them more accessible to every student in our community. I think that is just one of the ways that we can and should continue to lean forward on this issue. And I just thank you all so much for what you do. For those who don't realize that all charter schools have their own board, and these are volunteer positions, there's a lot of love and a lot of hours that go into dealing with all of the complexities that there are in a school. And I see them all shaking their heads because I know they've gotten those calls and wondered how they were going to deal with that next situation. So super grateful. Parents Challenge is an amazing organization that really helps parents navigate that and find that school, whether it's a traditional public school, a charter school, a private school, whatever that school is. And so what you do in the community is incredibly valuable. So thank you for also being here. And with that, I will turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Geithner. Okay, any final comments before we take a vote? All right, Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Congratulations and thank you for being here. We'll take a brief recess for a photo if you all can stick around. Good morning and welcome back to the Tuesday, May 14th Board of County Commissioners meeting. We have just completed item number 6. Item number 7.
Item number 7 is comments by elected officials and commissioner liaison reports.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to thank our district attorney, Michael Allen, and his wonderful staff for obtaining a verdict of guilty in the trial against the individual who was accused of murder for the police officer, Julian Becerra. I think that was a very important verdict, and we always need to stand with our police officers, and his was an unfortunate loss of life. This week I do have, I'm going to an event just in Denver. It's called Community Leaders of America. It's a group of conservative commissioners, city councilmen, and mayors. That'll be a 3-day event in Centennial, and those are the only things I have on my schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So tomorrow we will hold our we'll hold our May State Board of Health meeting, and so the State Board of Health is actually getting back to its regular routine post-COVID about holding one of their meetings every year outside of Denver. I support this. I think it's a great idea so that they can get feedback and so forth from different parts of the state. So fortunately, I was able to negotiate this, but we are actually going to hold the State Board of Health meeting at the Citizen Service Center tomorrow, starting at 10 a.m. I know the El Paso County Board of Health is invited, and I know that some of the members of that board and also several members of the El Paso County Public Health Office will be present and interacting with the State Board of Health members. Also with that state board, at 3 o'clock, when the meeting is concluded, we're going to take a tour of the Hibble Sports Medicine Center. And a little of this is really to highlight some of the great things that are being done in our community with regard to people's health and public health. And then there will be a social at the Garden of the Gods Club at 4 p.m. For members of the El Paso County Board of Health, for the State Board of Health, and it'll be an opportunity for us to get to know the members of the State Board of Health, and I just think it's a great opportunity for us to get to know them and work with them more. Also, tomorrow evening is the Tri-Lakes Cares Taste of Tri-Lakes Cares event, and I will be participating in that. It's a great event, a fundraiser for a great charity that helps people in need up in the Monument Tri-Lakes area. And I'm really looking forward to participating in that, and I'll be there for that. That is actually all that I have on the calendar for this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the State Board of Health moving around once a year. Our our State Veterans Affairs Board moves it monthly to different locations. So, but it's good to get out there and see the different constituents throughout the state.
We have to take every step one little bit at a time.
Baby steps. Yeah, so for me, I believe Friday, we have at the Pikes Peak Region Peace Officers Memorial. I believe that's this Friday as well. I appreciate the comments already mentioned, especially with the passing of the Fountain police officer, and then we'll have the memorial, the annual Peace Officers Memorial this Friday. I did also want to comment on, or just note that Pueblo City Council last night passed a ban on needle exchanges for access programs last night in a 5-2 vote. So interesting to see that happen, and yeah, I think it's noteworthy, and it's something I'm going to probably highlight this issue a little bit more next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's another busy week. I have community corrections as well as a library board meeting and also a fair advisory board meeting, which have some overlapping times. So always trying to participate as much as possible, but I haven't figured out how to split myself yet. So I will at least be trying to participate in portions of each one of those meetings. Also, there is a COG meeting on Monday morning. and also an opioid council meeting on Monday as well. So lots of things coming up through this week and into the beginning of next week before our next regular meeting. I also just wanted to point out that I believe this is National Police Week as well as National Charter Schools Week. So just wanted to express my great thanks for our law enforcement community and all the work that they do.
Well said. Thank you, Commissioner. Well, when you figure out how to split yourself, let us know. But in the meantime, thank you for covering for me next week. Commissioner Geithner will be vice chairing while I am out of town with family. And with that, I think just as the Memorial Day and end of school year graduation festivities begin, I would remind everyone to stay safe, to stay aware on the road, and also to welcome our visitors that are coming in for all of the college graduations. I think we have Air Force graduation, Colorado College, and UCCS. Some of the UCCS commencement activities already took place last weekend, but please just enjoy welcoming visitors to our community, and hopefully we can convince some of those new college graduates to find jobs here and stay in town and be a part of the great El Paso County workforce. With that, item number 8.
Item number 8 is community service organization reports, and there are none.
Item 9.
Item number 9 is public comment on items not scheduled on the agenda. This is the public's opportunity to speak on an item that is not scheduled on today's agenda. And Madam Chair, we didn't have anyone sign in to speak ahead of time.
Okay, thank you. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on any item not on today's agenda? Hearing none in the room and none online. Item number 10.
Item number 10 is the called up consent calendar, including item number 5A1, request to uphold the county assessor's recommendation to deny the abatement petition by Full Forest LLC for 2021 taxes. Reason for denial, parcel can only be abated for 2023 and 2022. Schedule number 52150-01029, Mark Flucher, Assessor.
Thank you. And I understand we have someone online to join us via Teams on this. Can we get a hold of that person, please? Thank you. While we're waiting on that, is there any staff online as well from the assessor's office planning to join us? Okay. If not, that's fine.
Good morning, Madam Chair and esteemed members of the board. Is this my opportunity to speak, or do you want me to wait?
Yes, sir. This is your opportunity. Please introduce yourself for the record, and thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. Again, thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Rafael Chansa. I'm here today representing Full Forest LLC, specifically regarding schedule number 521-500-1029, which is within El Paso County in the state of Colorado. We come before you to request, of course, that the county assessor's recommendation to deny our abatement petition for 2021 taxes be overturned. It is our position that the statute of limitations governing the 2-year tax abatement has not passed. While the tax statement was issued in 2022, our filing of the abatement is within the 2-year time frame from when the taxes were actually paid. It is our position that since property taxes are assessed and paid in arrears, the spirit of the statute is to allow taxpayers to correct errors for the 2 years paid, rather than solely narrowly focusing on the year in which the statement was issued. Therefore, we believe that the abatement filed in 2024 is still within the intended time frame for rectifying any errors in the taxes assessed, which in this case there were some errors, and collected for the previous 2 years In support of our position, I'd like to submit that our property tax statements omitted the erroneous classification of the property, which significantly impacted our ability to seek refund of taxes that were, as per statute, erroneously or illegally levied technically. This error was not easily discernible to us from the property tax statements, as both of our properties were designated simply as real estate or real property, rather, until the last statement that just came out at the very end of January of 2024. That's when the classification of the property was changed from real property to what it actually is, one being residential, the other one being vacant land. So it was only then that we became aware of this misclassification. And of course, we immediately realized that we were paying just a disproportionately higher tax rate for schedule number 521-500-1029 as compared to our other property of higher value. In addition, those statements to the schedule in question were mailed to an address where we could not receive mail. And mail was not deliverable there. We had to contact the assessor's office to correct that. And of course, there was a delay in actually getting those statements. So in sum, just as responsible citizens of the county, we have consistently and who have consistently paid our taxes on time. We just respectfully ask the board to consider the circumstances that we have just brought up. The error on the statements was not reasonably discoverable by us. We feel that despite those challenges, the omission of the erroneous property classification on the tax statements and failure to send the statements to where we could receive them, we still acted immediately and within the 2-year period, which we feel satisfies the spirit of the statute that covers abatements. Of course, we're prepared to provide any evidence supporting what I'm just discussing, our claims, and to elaborate on any circumstances that led to this error and discovery of the same. And we just appreciate your understanding and your consideration. Thank you for your service and your leadership and for your time and consideration today.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question is, according to the statute, so when did you petition for the abatement? What was the date submitted?
So we received the statement January 28th, and we had a family emergency. Life happened, and we filed it in February 2024. So February 27th, with the weekends and having to travel out of country to manage those family emergencies, it took us to February 27th when we managed to get to your building or to the county building to file the petition for abatement.
And then for our attorney or the assessor's office, the rules, and because I'm stating the statute that says a 2-year from the January 1st of the year after the taxes of the year the taxes were levied, what are we saying? It was 2021, and so the January 1st would be for 2022? And that's a question for our assessor or attorney.
Thank you, Commissioner. I believe that the language you went through a little bit of it just a moment ago. It's contained in CRS 3910-114-1A, Roman 1A. In no case shall an abatement or refund of taxes be made unless a petition for abatement or refund is filed within 2 years after January 1st of the year following the year in which the taxes were levied. As far as the board's options going forward today, the assessor, I don't believe, has staff present and doesn't have staff online. One option that the board may have is continuing this matter to a date certain of next week's meeting to allow the assessor to address the relevant dates as far as when they receive things. Alternatively, again, it is in the statute, it's spelled out as a statute basically limiting the abatements to 2 years. So an alternative option to just making a decision today would be to allow the assessor to come and speak to the matter directly.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gonzalez, did you have any other?
No, I just wasn't
questions or
sure if in the record it was already listed. So, so we're not sure if it was 2021 that started January of 22. But clearly, that's the most important date. We've concluded that February 27th of 24. So we need to figure out the 2-year point. So, okay, if we can't decide or cannot understand that right now, then yes, then that makes sense to me to continue this.
Okay. Any other thoughts? I will throw one in there, which is that I believe that it's questionable whether there will be a quorum next week, certainly not a full board present. So I might look to our clerk to tell us when the next meeting is, just so that the applicant or appellant here can let us know whether they'd rather just have a decision without all the information today, or whether that date that might be a few weeks away would work better.
Madam Chair, we still have the opportunity to continue that item to the Tuesday, May 21st meeting. Otherwise, the following week's meeting is canceled and they would have to wait till the first June meeting.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner,
if I may, my apologies for interruption.
Go ahead, sure.
Well, I respectfully, submit that obviously I think the assessor's office was notified of this. We're here today, prepared, and of course we just ask that we that we are given grace for that. We're here, we're present, and the county assessor's office is not. So if at all possible, if it can be decided today, we would of course appreciate that, as I think the burden is on the county assessor's office, my understanding.
Okay. I think either way, we need some legal clarifications here, because statute is pretty clear, and I'm not. I do want to probably consult with our county attorney for at least a moment, but until then, Commissioner Gonzalez.
So 2 additional thoughts. One, just so that it's out there, a public record was this is being denied because of the 2-year statute of limitations. No statement here that it's being denied for a cause, or that that the petitioner is not stating something that may be supported by his arguments in the supporting documentation they submitted. So that's not a reason here. I also think he makes a strong point about the government's role in getting it right. I therefore think it would be poor choice to continue, but perhaps a delay of 15 minutes of something to call the assessor's office, and maybe we can still get it done. But I think I would agree with the petitioner in that it's our job to get this right, and I don't think we should continue this. But I do think we should probably take a break and give the assessor's office a chance to answer our questions.
Okay. Any other further comments? Okay. Sir, thank you very much for your patience, for your willingness to show up today. I think what we will do is we will take a brief recess and see if we can get the assessor's office online. And then also, my concern, I am certainly sympathetic to your appeal of this at the moment, but what I don't want this body to do is to go against statute in a way where we have another fully countywide elected official that we don't really have statutory powers over. They are independently elected as well. So let me see if I can get some clarification, and we will be in a brief recess until then. Sir, do you have the ability to call back in or to stay online?
Yes, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Okay, we will be in recess until, we'll give it until 10:15.
Thank you.
Thank you. our person online on Teams knows that we're still here. We're still in recess briefly. Thank you. Good morning and welcome back to the Tuesday, May 14th Board of County Commission meeting. We are on item number 10, which refers back to item originally number 5A1. Okay, I understand that we have our assessor online as well on Teams. If we can get both the assessor and the appellant up. There we go. Okay. Mr. Flucher, thank you for joining us today. As you know, we are discussing our original consent calendar item 5A1 regarding an abatement petition. Can you give us some background on this? I think that we had some questions about specific dates so that we can relate that back to the statutes.
Yes, Madam Chair, and I apologize. I just recently became aware of this meeting. We did receive a petition for abatement in February of this year. Statute bars us from going back more than 2 years on abatements. Therefore, we reclassified the property for tax years 23 and 22 as residential. In addition, for 2023, we made a value reduction to the parcel, taking it back to the 2022 market value. However, for 21, we were unable to provide the abatement because of the statute barring the time limit there.
So, and just to clarify, the petition for 2021 taxes was received February 2024, and according to statute, the deadline for that would have been January 1, 2020. It would have been January 1, 2024.
Madam Chair, that is correct. It would have been January 1 of 2024 would have been the deadline.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Geithner.
Madam Chair, I just want to clarify with our county attorney. So the applicant self-reported that he did not make that petition until February 27th of 2024, clearly past the statutory date as it is written. Do we have the ability to waive that date?
No, ma'am, I do not believe that you do have the ability to waive the date. The statute is strict by its own terms, and the board would not have jurisdiction to grant the abatement.
Okay, so with hearing that from our county attorney, we do not have the option to waive that date, and it's been self-reported by the applicant. Unfortunately, I understand the I understand the concerns over errors, but the statute does specifically state in no case that you have 2 years to discover and petition an error, and then after that, you do not have the right to do that. We do not have the ability to waive that date. And so I don't see that we have any choice to be in compliance in the law with do anything but to uphold the decision of the assessor at this point. So I will leave it to the chair if we want further discussion or if there's a motion needed.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I believe I fully understood it. The assessor has stated the 2021 taxes, but to be very specifically clear, so when you say the 2021 taxes, you're saying that as per the statute, that would relate to the January 1st of the following year. So the baseline year, Mr. Assessor, you're saying for this request was January 1st of 2022. Is that correct?
January 1 of 2022 or January of 22 is when the taxes would have been billed for 21. However, the statute refers to the actual tax year. So the 2-year limitation ended in 23. There's case law that allows one to go into January 1st of 24.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, and just a clarification, we do need a motion. It should be as detailed as possible, as this was a called up consent calendar item.
Madam Chair, may I just add, I'd just like to stress that the county assessor, per statute, is also required to go out to each and every single parcel and determine and classify appropriately each and every parcel. That was not done. And we could not discern from the property tax statements that came to us late, as they may have been, discern that our property was misclassified. Don't know if that's, of course, intentional. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but nonetheless, we couldn't until this very year, 2024, and late, January 28th, and was when that was issued. So they're not issuing statements the 1st of January, but they're holding the citizens of the county to the 1st of January. So it's just not in the best interest of county residents. I just like to stress that point. And of course, I just stress what I've provided previously. And I appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just want to say again, I'm sympathetic to the concerns around any errors that there were there, and certainly the assessor is online here, so I'm going to certainly ask the assessor to look into what the problem was in this specific case and make sure that we have good processes moving forward to ensure that we don't have any errors and that we are giving the most accurate information possible. At the same point, the statute is very clear here. In no case, not in the case of an error, it actually speaks specifically to errors, but it says, in no case, regardless of all of those things, shall an abatement or refund of taxes be made unless a petition for abatement or refund is filed within 2 years after January 1st of the year following the year in which the taxes were levied. I do not believe we have the authority, as our county attorney has said, to waive that date in order to be in compliance with statute. Again, I am sympathetic to any errors, but the 2-year period is the time in which that can be petitioned by the property owner, and we are outside of that without any ability to waive that. And so for that reason, I am going to move that we uphold the county assessor's recommendation to deny the abatement petition by Full Forest LLC for 2021 taxes for the reason that the parcel cannot be abated per statute for the year 2021.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Oh, no discussion, just getting ready for a vote.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too am very sympathetic to the applicant here, but the statute is the statute. And unfortunately, I did ask a lot of questions on this during the break to try to get, it comes down to, as was already noted, there's no exception in no case. So I'll support this. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I will call the roll. Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0 to deny the abatement that was originally item 5A1. Thank you, sir, for being here. I'm sorry our hands are a bit tied by statute here. I would encourage the assessor to continue to work as he does with property owners. I'm glad to hear that that has been reclassified appropriately for the subsequent years. And thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you all for your service and leadership again. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fletcher.
You're welcome. And if it's appropriate at this time, I'd like to address what was considered an error in the classification. If not, I can let you continue on with the meeting.
Commissioner Gonzalez, you said you have a comment, or? Yes, please proceed.
So this is vacant land, and typically vacant land is classified as non-residential. We did send notice to the property owner April 30th of 2021 that it was classified as such. It was reclassified as residential land because it has a contiguous use with the residential property that it adjoins. In most cases, the property owner needs to bring to our attention that contiguous use exists. With notice being given in April of 21, there would have been enough time for the owner to provide us notice of the contiguous use rather than waiting until 2024. So
Okay.
in my opinion, it was not an error. This is typically how vacant land is handled.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for hopping online to answer questions when we had them. Okay. We will move on at this point to item number 11.
Item number 11 is the Land Development Code 2024 Fee Schedule Update, a request to approve the 2024 Planning and Community Development Department Fee Schedule. All Commissioner Districts file LDC 241, Mindy Scholes, Strategic Services Manager, Planning and Community Development.
Ms. Schultz. It's a good thing she announces your name because I was going to say Ms. Madden.
Good morning, Commissioners. I would answer to both. The record again, Ms. Scholes with Planning and Community Development. Here to talk about fees again, hopefully for the last time this year. So the fee schedule was originally adopted in 2007. Minor revisions have been made since 2010. So updated fee schedule has been long overdue. The fee schedule, when we looked at the fee schedule, we looked at efficiencies that have been made in technology, mostly EDARP. We looked at efficiencies that have been made with staff review times. We looked at every application and who touches it with staff, how long they touch it. And so we just, I'm sorry, let me start over. Oh my goodness, I've looked at fees too much this year. So efficiencies were made in review processes. We looked at the implementation of EDARP, hourly rates, and costs associated with benefits and with overhead. All fees have been set to 85% cost recovery. 45 application fees have been reduced. 58 application fees have increased. We removed 10 outdated, unused application fee types. We combined applications that were similar in cost and review criteria, and we broke out certain application types such as construction permits and drawings. $37 tech fee will be used for technology costs such as making EDARP improvements and maintenance costs for EDARP. We will discontinue collection of use tax admin fees that are added to building permit cost. The fee schedule will be updated every 5 to 6 years. Annual escalation will be based on CPI for Colorado as published by the Department of Local Affairs. And we did collaborate with the industry, and a letter of support provided by the HBA is in your packets. We want to implement the new 2024 fee schedule beginning August 1st of 2024. And that will also include discontinuing the collection of that use tax admin fees by PPRBD. We will, following approval of the 2024 fee schedule, we will put it online to get the word out of the new fee schedule. And we will provide the new fee schedule to HBA to let the industry know of the new fee schedule. Any questions for staff?
Are there any questions? Okay. No questions at this time. Comments? Commissioner Williams.
I wanted to thank our planning department just for the long effort and amount of time they've placed into this. You know, in our strategic plan, we want to be very transparent in the fees that we charge. And also, we want to be able to make data-driven decisions. I know that there was probably a lot of time spent to figure out how long it took to do something. And that's very important in making sure that we, in the housing process, in the building of houses, we can keep our housing as affordable as possible while still being reimbursed for the work our staff is doing. And I've just been very impressed with this process. I appreciate all of the effort our department has gone into fixing this, to having a fee schedule that's published that we know about. I really appreciate that as well. Thank you for your efforts.
Commissioner Geithner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will concur with Commissioner Williams. I'm really grateful for all the work from Megan and her team at planning. Also to our county administrator for helping shepherd this process and knowing it's a complicated one, focusing on making sure everything here at the county is data-driven. I did just also want to comment, I think it's important that development pays its own way, and when there are costs that are incurred, that those are paid for. At the same point, there's always a balance in my mind, because we also have individual citizens who come through and want to make changes or utilize their property in different ways, and fees that are set too high are a burden to those individuals, as well as can be a driving cost in driving up housing costs. So we want to make sure that there is an appropriate balance to this, and that we are thoughtful about that, and to Commissioner Williams' point, transparent. And I think we've struck that balance on this. I also really appreciate the tying this specifically to inflation and CPI, because this is going to allow us, as we move forward, to have a fee schedule that is regularly updated, that makes sense. And I think that the evidence that this has been a great process and we've come to a great result is the HBA letter of support. And so I'll be in support of this.
Any further comments? Okay. And I do believe we need a motion to approve this. Is that correct?
Yes, I move approval of item 11, the 2024 fee schedule update by the Planning and Community Development Department.
And I'll second.
That has been moved and seconded. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this item? Okay. Any online? Thank you. And any commissioner comments? Okay. I'll call the roll. Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Aye.
Commissioner Geithner.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. That passes 5-0. Congratulations and thank you very much. Item number 12.
Item number 12 is department and committee reports, non-action items, and there are none.
Item 13.
Item number 13 is the addendum, and there are no addendums today.
Item 14.
Item 14 is executive session, and there is no request for executive session.
We are adjourned.